Today I'm going to be talking about George Washington Carver. He was a black man who made history. First I'm going to be talking about his early life. He was born on a farm near Diamond, Missouri in 1864, where his mother Mary was purchased 9 years before his birth by Moses Carver, a white farm owner. Moses was against slavery but needed help with his 240-acre farm. When Carver was an infant, his mother and his sister were kidnapped from the Carver farm during the Civil War time and were sold in Kentucky. Moses Carver hired a neighbor to retrieve them, who was able to find George and purchase him back by trading one of Moses's finest horses. Carver grew up knowing little about his mother or father, who died before he was born, and he and his brother James were raised by Moses Carver and his wife Susan as their own children, and they taught the boys how to read and write. His brother James focused on working the fields with Moses, but George was not a strong child, and he could not help with such hard work. Instead, Susan taught him how to cook, do laundry, and garden, as well as how to prepare simple herbal medicines. At a young age, Carver had an interest in plants and experimented with products to improve plant health. He became known as the plant doctor to local farmers due to his ability to improve the health of their gardens. Now I'm going to be talking about his education. At age 11, Carver left the farm to attend all-black school in the nearby town, where he lived with an African-American couple in exchange for help with household chores. This new foster mother was a nurse, and she gave Carver her knowledge of herb medicine. After he moved from one town to another, attending different schools, he graduated from Minneapolis High School in Kansas in 1880 and applied to Highland College in Kansas. This was an all-white college. He was initially accepted but later rejected when the school found out he was black. In the late 1880s, Carver enrolled in Simpson College, a Methodist school that admitted all qualified students. Carver initially studied art and piano in hopes of earning a teaching degree, but his professors Etta Budd did not think a black man was able to make a living as an artist, and she encouraged him to apply to the Iowa State Agriculture School to study botany, which is a study of plants and flowers. In 1894, Carver became the first African American to earn a degree of Bachelor of Science. His professors were impressed by his research on the fungal infections of soybean plants, and they asked him to stay on for graduate studies. 2 years later, Carver earned his Master of Agriculture degree and immediately received several job offers. He received Best from Tuskegee University in Alabama from Booker Washington, whose last name George added on to his name later on. Washington established an agricultural school with and he asked Carver to run it. Carver accepted the offer and would work at Carver Institute for the rest of his life. What did George Washington Carver invent? He taught poor farmers that they could feed hogs acorns instead of commercial feed and enrich crop plants with swamp mucks instead of fertilizer. He came up with the valuable idea of crop rotation. He found out after years of growing cotton, the nutrients in the soil will be less, resulting in low yields, but by growing plants like peanuts, soybeans, and sweet potatoes, the soil could be restored, allowing yield to increase when cotton is planted a few years later. Also, he invented the Jessup wagon, which is this. A kind of mobile horse-drawn classroom and laboratory used to demonstrate soil chemistry to teach farmers about it. Why is he called the Peanut Man? Carver's biggest success came from peanuts. He developed more than 300 food, industrial, and commercial products from peanuts, including milk, cooking oils, salad oil, paper, cosmetics, soaps, and wood stains. He also experimented with peanut-based medicines, and he became known as the plant doctor. The Peanut Man. His focus was always on helping people. He traveled the South to promote racial harmony, and he traveled to India to discuss nutrient in developing nations with Mahatma Gandhi. Carver also invented many products from sweet potatoes, including edible products like flour and vinegar. Up until the year of his death, he also released 44 bulletins on research. Carver died on January 5th, 1943 at Tuskegee Institute after falling down the stairs of his home. He was 78 years old. Carver was buried next to Booker Washington on the Tuskegee University grounds. Soon after, President Roosevelt gave an order for Carver to receive his own monument, an honor previously only granted to Presidents George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. The George Washington Carver National Monument now stands in his childhood home in Diamond, Missouri, as the first of its kind to honor an African American. Thanks for listening to my presentation.